opening her home. Very grateful. And thank you all for showing up. I'm very grateful for that too. Shabbat basically means Saturday. It's Hebrew for Saturday. It's a holy day that happens once a week, every week, where it's said that after 6 days that God created the heaven and the earth and everything that exists, he or she or it rested on the Shabbat. And from then on, it's custom to work and live and be active for 6 days a week, but to honor divinity and honor the fact that we are a mechanism that needs rest. And so on Shabbat, we honor divinity, whatever God you believe in, and ourselves, and rest. Okay? So people who are religious, who are, conservative, they tend to not do anything on Shabbat. They don't drive, they don't light lights and things like that, or electricity. Personally, I'm not very religious. I'm doing this because every now and then it's nice. And mostly, and this is going to be a hard conversation, mostly because what my and Noam's people are now going through. I don't know the extent of which you've been watching the news. Different people follow to different extents. But for those of you who are not fully informed, the Jewish people are going through something that is not kinda, not sorta, not maybe, not next to, not an analogy, but exactly, terrifyingly enough, like Nazi Germany. Early 1930s, mid 1920s, kind of building up to the Holocaust. Now, we don't think another Holocaust will come. We don't think the US will put us in concentration camps, but there are a lot of people in the world who want to do that. And there are places in the world that don't carry Western mindset or an expansion of consciousness from the old days, and they want to, if they could, to do that. Luckily, the difference between now and the last century is that we have a country and an army and a military, and some countries around the world that are more advanced and have learned from the past. So we're not in the worst case that we've been to then. But when it comes to human consciousness, when it comes to society, when it comes to humanity, unfortunately, not everyone are in the mindset that the Western world and the Western civilization is under. We are experiencing, I'm wearing a Star of David, right? I feel somewhat safe doing that here on the mountain. The great majority of Jewish people worldwide do not. There's actually a call now, crazy enough, by our government that tells anyone who's abroad, outside of Israel, to avoid wearing any Jewish symbolism.
Oh. Wow.
Because it's that dangerous. And it's not something that I'm saying in philosophy or in theory. On the ground, in these days, you have Jewish people attacked left and right. Now, I understand that this is not a pleasant conversation to have at a dinner party, but as I started saying, it's not a regular dinner party or a regular social gathering. Shabbat is an aspect of honoring divinity and spirituality that comes with truth, that comes with light work, that comes with being active to making this world a better place and to be better ourselves and to inspire others to be better. And unfortunately, we can't do it by turning a blind eye. Some people have the fortune to be able to do so because they're not under direct threat. But being that we are exceptionally outnumbered, the Jewish people in relation to the Muslim world or to the Christian world or to the Buddhist world or to the world at large, you have billions of people for all the religions, billions Muslims, billions of Christians, and so on and so forth. There are only less than 16 million Jews. So around the world, including Israel. So if we solely take care of ourselves and not bother others, we're very likely to lose because it's a game of numbers. You may not experience this here, but in the Middle East, we are overwhelmingly outnumbered, both as a country surrounded by other countries, and both as just numbers in the world in relation to human beings outside that. The great majority is good people that wouldn't harm anybody, even if they have innate some sort of antagonism towards my people, they would still not actively pursue hurting them. That is the majority of the world. But 15 to 25% of the world is radical, and that's according to intelligence agencies. I didn't make this up. And that means an average for every one Jewish person in the world, no less than 30 who want us dead. Not canceled, not hurt, not outside of society, but out of existence. And right now, it has come to the forefront, tragically, by a catalytic event. You've all heard of October 7th, I'm assuming. 3,000 human beings infiltrated Israel and massacred in the ways that I won't describe, but let's say they are unimaginable, 1,400 plus human beings for being Jewish. And I know there's a lot of talks about the politics behind it. It's about land, it's about politics, etc. It never has been about that. I'm saying this as a born and raised Israeli. You can either take me for that word or not. You can argue maybe another day. But we know better than most what our reality is, unfortunately. And that sparked something that we thought, well, okay, now we're going to mourn and maybe the world will be on our side. But half the world is on our side and the other half celebrates. And the other half joins with marches and calls for genocide. I'm going to repeat some of the slogans that I've heard myself and that many have heard themselves, because this needs to be told, not because I want to, not because I want to talk about it, not because I want this to be a part of the party, but because unfortunately it is. I'm the least comfortable in doing this to any of you. But some of the things that are heard in those marches, in those rallies and demonstrations is, quote, gas the Jews by the masses. Israel, Israel, you can't hide. We want Jewish genocide. And I'm talking masses of people chanting that. And all you can watch on the news, everything I'm saying today, you can then further on go online and verify. From the river to the sea, which is also a genocidal slogan. People often don't know that because it has a rhyme to it. It doesn't say it specifically, but it's something that Hamas created. It's a slogan that Hamas created. The river of Jordan, it's the east border of Israel. The Mediterranean Sea, it's the western border of Israel. So everything in between needs to be out. That's the quote-unquote freedom. So what am I doing here? Am I just expressing myself and telling it to you guys because I need therapy? I know I need therapy, but that's not why I'm doing this here. Shabbat is about, and we'll do it soon, is about lighting candles so that light could defeat darkness, so that good will overcome evil, so that consciousness overcomes ignorance. And that is all of these things that I've said are verbs. It can't happen by itself. We are messengers of all of that, be it if we believe in an outside God or an inside God. Still, it's our duty to make this world a better place. I know I speak for myself, but for my entire people, we can't afford another 6 years of being persecuted by those who want to annihilate us because the world needs debate. That's what we had in the Holocaust. We need people to learn from the past. We need people to reach inside into their heart and into all the words that they've been saying to themselves about who they are and what they would do if they were in that case and if they were in that scenario, and to do it now so that less people are hurt and less people are scared, and that even though we know that the great majority of people is not bad and is likely on our side, we don't hear it. We don't see it. Because violence and aggression and evil are loud, always been very loud. And an aspect of goodness, unfortunately, is also a level of vanity. We're good, so it's above us or beneath us, or we don't need to have our hands dirty with all of that. We need to keep our frequency clean and our vibration high, and all of these things I understand and I connect with, but we just don't have that privilege. We can't be spiritual warriors as long as there's no war, or light workers as long as there's no work to do. So right now there's a war, and right now there's work to do. And by lighting these candles, I'm asking every single one of you, in your own way, in your own capacity, in the boundaries of your own desires and will and ability, to take that torch and pass it along to your people, to your community, to your friends. It could be one person, it could be a group. Whatever you do counts. And whatever they do then echoes. And when we start hearing you, we know we're not alone. Currently, we feel very much alone. In this beautiful spiritual community, no one knows what's going on because everybody is above it on this mountain because it doesn't touch them. And in so many places in the US, people just, they're not calling for their eradication. So, but I will say one last thing before I move on to what this cute bear over there signifies. We're dealing with forces similar to Hitler. He started with the Jews, but the Holocaust also included Black people and gay people and gypsies. Like, the massacre started with Jews and proceeded onward. And what we are facing now, the Jewish people, is radical fundamentalist fanaticism that wants to start with the Jews, but then move on to the gays, and then submit the women, and make the entire world live under Sharia law. I don't know if you know what that means. I encourage you to search it later. So right now it looks like it's just us, but this is a war for everyone. No one wants peace more than we do. I always find it very fascinating when people preach to us about peace. No one, like the people who went through so many wars, want peace. We're fighting for peace now, ironically enough. Okay? Thank you for listening. Now let's talk about the cute little teddy bear over there. He symbolizes children, 38 children to be exact. 242 Israelis, Jews and non-Jews, by the way, were kidnapped into Gaza, currently held there for over a month. 38 of those 240 are children from 10 months old, baby, to 17 years old. The remaining are 18 to 85 years old. I have printed flyers over there of 12 out of the 38 children. I would like to hand every single one of you a flyer with the face of a child and a name, and maybe you can add them to your prayers, and maybe you can learn a little bit about them, and maybe they can be that one hostage that you think about and pray for and learn about, and will be joyous when he or she comes back home, or will grieve if they don't. Every flyer has a little barcode that you can scan with your phone. That will open a lot of information online to all the other hostages. If that's something you want to do, you will have that portal on it. I know I'm going to a print shop and printing all the 240 and put them up on poles. But I would love it if every single one of you could have one. I've echoed an intent before this evening that only people who are able to contain all of this to show up. That if someone is unable to contain all of this, is unable to understand this, to just something to happen and not show up. And it actually happened. 3 people didn't show up, and that's really okay. But if you're here, know that I prayed for you to be here. For your soul that is able to be here. There was something else I wanted to say. I don't want to forget it because I know it was important. Yes, I want to clarify something in case there's confusion. This is not a war between Jews and Muslims. In Israel, it's the land for the Jews. It's not limited for Jews. We have Muslims Israelis and Christian Israelis and Buddhist Israelis and Wiccans Israelis and
Bahais.
atheists and Bahais and everyone. It's a matter of every religion and every belief system has light and good and wisdom to it, but then there are those who take to the extreme, who translate it from a place of hate. And that is what we're battling. That is the culture that we're battling. So it's important to clarify that. We have Muslim people on our side, Christian people on our side, everyone that just, they don't feel that radicalism and hatred and anti-Semitism speaks for them. They're like, not in the name of my God. Mm-mm. Okay? So know that. You're not joining either religion. You're not discriminating anybody. We're all in this together and decide of love, honestly, and acceptance and tolerance. Okay, and I really wish for this to be a metonymy for the world, to understand this and come together with Israel, because that's what Israel represents. I know there's a lot of propaganda and a lot of different narratives going out there. Just to clarify, in case anybody's confused, no apartheid, no occupation, well, God forbid, maybe now, I don't know, because of the war. No colonialism. All of this is false history. All of it. If it was the case, I would not be on Israel's side. It's as simple as that. Now that I've said all that, we can move on with the blessings. How are you guys feeling? Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
As heavy as it is, it's good. Love is a verb.
Can I add something?
Of course.
So I don't know, some of you may know, I'm from Israel as well. And I've lived in the United States for 22 years. And I want to thank you for saying all this. Because we, Israelis and Jews, we live with this all the time.
Decades.
And it's so challenging to be in the United States right now. Because of the neutralism that I've experienced. And neutral, being neutral about what's happening.
Like, I'm not
Like,
gonna have any opinion.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take a side because I can't really, I don't know enough.
I'm a peaceful spiritual person, so I should not be touching that.
Right. And so it's that there's that too, but it's been rough and different to it all.
Einstein said the world will not be ruined by those who do evil, but by those who stand aside and do nothing about it. Silence is enablement. When we do the spiritual thing and we echo our consciousness wider, broader, or upper to other dimensions where there's no duality, there's no good and bad, and there's no warfare, we forget that exists, but that we exist here. There are dimensions in which there is no gravity. That doesn't mean I'm going to try and fly off a 20-floor building. We are bound to this dimension, you want to call it, to this existence, to this matter. We are not above it. We're experiencing a journey through it. And the only way out is in. We cannot overcome this matter by denying this matter, and we cannot overcome duality and bring unity and integration by denying the dualism of the Hermetic laws, the existence that is dual. You can't have a middle without a right and a left. If right and left don't exist, if extremism doesn't exist, then balance doesn't exist. Everything crumbles if we deny the existence of, yes, 80% is hurt people hurt and can be convinced either way and be educated either way, but I don't know who said that phrase, but I think it's very true. There is 10% that is absolutely good, and there is 10% that is absolutely evil. And if we pretend that doesn't exist and insist on staying in the middle, that will collapse as well. I wish evil did not exist. Unfortunately, my life experience and the experience of my people have taught us the hard way that it does. When it doesn't matter how many times you reach out for peace and for love, and you give and you coexist and you try everything in your power to sacrifice yourself and give yourself to the other side, and they just want more of you until you are gone. That is a never-ending black hole that just seeks to suck you in, and black holes suck in light, and we can't let that happen. Okay. So that's why I'm doing this. So again, really thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate it. I know it's not easy, and I was debating a lot if to do it or not, but I can't be a hypocrite. I can't light candles on Shabbat and do something that symbolizes spreading light and consciousness and truth, and then act like nothing is going on, especially when it's my people. So thank you. So let's light the candles now and do the prayer. It's going to be a little bit of Hebrew. You won't understand it, and that's okay. I promise, just good stuff. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו מצוותיו, ציוונו להדליק נר של שבת. אמן. I'd like to make a few requests from the divine, please. First and foremost, to the 240 hostages that are held against their will in Gaza, may they return home soon, safe, whole, well, and alive. To the IDF soldiers, to the Israeli Defense Forces, to be strong, to maintain their humanity, because that's what makes us different, to win, and to bring peace. To the people of Israel, to finally just be able to live safe and free in their homeland, which is what Zionism means. To all the children of Israel across the globe, to be strong and to be safe. To all other children of the world, that light and inspiration, may it be bigger and broader than anything else in their heart. And may they stand by our side and not look away. And to the children of our enemies, may there be enough inspiration and light and love in their heart to break through the layers of brainwash and of taught hatred, for them to grow up to make better, stronger, more loving choices. And may we coexist. Amen.
Amen.
Now I'm going to give every single one of you a piece of bread that I will dip in salt. It's for a blessing, for being closer to God, your God, wherever it may be. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לך מן הארץ. Pass it along. She's closer, so I'm going to pass it along and put it in front of the bear, please. Pass it along to this one.
Does it all go to the bear?
No, you get one.
Karen, you get to keep
No,
it?
you keep yours.
You get to keep
yours.
I get to keep it?
Yeah.
Oh. Thought the bear was gonna get it.
Hungry bear.
I don't have 240 of these all the way to the end.
Does the bear need a plate?
No, it's just a symbolism.
No, nor do we.
Okay, you can grab a bite. All right. feel like we can bring out the food and we can change the energy and have some fun. How do you feel about that?
Fine.
Okay.
I
Cool.
vote yes.